Okay, Rabbi Isai.
It's okay if I sit here, Rabbi?
You can sit wherever you want. Well, another Tuesday night shiur. You should want to post it that there's food and everything. Maybe people.
So right here, but people can take from there.
It's okay. You can sit there. Just make it.
I don't know if girls come or something.
Okay, guys. Rabbi Isai. How you guys doing? How was your Purim? How was your Purim? Before we start the shiur, we have to catch up. You know, I didn't see your beautiful face in a long time.
Oh, right. I have a question.
First, I asked you how was Purim, you know?
It was honestly, it was a good Purim. My car got totaled. I lost, somebody stole money from me. It was a good Purim, I'll be honest.
You know, the highlight of Purim is not to see. What's the mitzvah of Ad Lo Yada? It's not the drinking. That's the excuse. The concept of Ad Lo Yada, not knowing between Arur, Haman, and Baruch Mordechai, the point of that is because you don't really know anything in this world. Everything is God. So your car getting totaled, you lost money, this happened, that happened, really? And you had it happen on Purim? That is the greatest blessing. The greatest blessing.
Meaning what?
Meaning the fact that it happened to you and you think it's bad, it's not really bad.
I think it's bad.
It's an emotional thing.
Just tight.
Again, it's an emotional thing. You're emotionally hurt about the situation. But if you would really know how much really that's gonna save you in the long run, you wouldn't be tight. You would be so grateful that it was just that and not your face. It was just that and not later on down the road.
Yeah, but then
It was just that and not lose a deal. It was just that and your mother's safe. It could have been so much worse, right? How you said right now, I saw you on Purim. You had to remind me. My Purim was great. I didn't have such a Purim in a long, long time.
Oh, not problem.
The truth is, I was going to have a small Suda in the Beit Knesset and then go home, something small, and go to my Rebbe's house. One of my friends told me that he has nowhere to be for Purim. Those were his words. I have nowhere to be, I need a Suda, make a meal. And I said, okay, I'm going to make a meal. If you have nowhere to be, I'm going to make a meal. I went to the store, we got everything, meat and food and wine, whatever it was. It happened to be that friend came 30 minutes before Shkia. He was already half not himself. He already ate somewhere else. And it happened to be that the time he told me he was going to come, I had a whole bunch of other people come instead. So, how you said, I was tight. At the end of the day, there was nothing to be tight about. So if not him, someone else took his place.
Yeah, but it wasn't
You
my
have
control.
to. You know what? That's exactly the point.
No, like if I was like.
No. It's never your control. You're tight because in your mind you want to be in control. The fact that you realize it wasn't in your control, that's why you shouldn't be tight. You should actually be happy. Because if it was your control, then you'd be a debil.
Yeah.
The fact that it wasn't your control, for sure you shouldn't be upset. You should be the most happiest person. And like this, the world goes. And Purim was great. I had a phenomenal time. And we finished one avodah. That means we finished one job. We finished one working on ourselves. Which was to get to that revelation of understanding that we have nothing and everything is nothing and everything is Hashem, and the cause of everything is just look at the Megillah. Everything switched. Everything switched. Haman wanted to come to say bad about Mordechai, and then the whole thing switched. The revealment was so powerful. It was an amazing thing, and everything is double in the Haggadah. I mean, in the Megillah, everything is the two Mishtes, two times Haman spoke to his relatives. Everything is two. If you look at it, it's two. Mordechai wore sack, he took it off because he had to go on the horse, then he put it back. Everything is two. Why? There's two major harot. There are two major revealments. Two. Until you don't. We're not getting into that because that's more Kabbalistic and it's irrelevant. But everything is it's a phenomenon. It's amazing. It's beautiful. When you start to learn in depth, you start to connect everything. But now we're going into, yes, ask your question.
Yeah. This is part of the thing.
Sure.
But you're saying it's always in God's control, 100%, it's not in ours, whatever. Everyone has the freedom of choice, right? How can God, I know God can do anything, I'm saying, how does He control what yes or no? Because the guy just has the freedom of choice to just say, I want to shoot someone.
So,
God, boom, I just do it.
so
You have to have an understanding.
here's where you and I will disagree.
I don't disagree, I'm asking.
I'm explaining to you. I don't believe in freedom of choice.
What's the point of living? Sure, there's no point there. What do you mean?
So there's two ways how to look at it. Of course, there's a freedom of choice, but the freedom of choice that I think exists, which I actually spoke to my Rebbe about it, is totally not what you think freedom of choice is. I think our freedom of choice is only b'machshava. B'machshava means it's a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. And you think freedom of choice is a physical thing, not a mental thing. Now, why are you going to say that? Oh, what's the point then? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And I was just learning about it, reviewing, because I'm starting to give I'm thinking to a group of people that call me to give a small Otzrot Chaim class. And this is the first thing that the Ari starts to delve into it, it's a Chaim. If you actually understand his answers of why the world was created in the beginning, which I'm not going to get into right now, and he brings, it comes to a point, we're here in this world to serve God, not for a reward.
Not for what?
Not for a reward. A person that comes to this world and thinks he's doing it for a reward, it's defeating the purpose of him in this world. There's no point. Because that's what it is. A person, you come you're coming here what? For a return? And what was the point? That's the most selfish thing. The most selfish thing is actually to say, like a parent, the most selfish parents are the ones that say, I'm only taking care of you, my child, because of one day when I get old, I want you to take care of me. The parent has to take care of the child to a point that the son should not only want, he should learn from how his father and mother took care of him for them to take care of them. That's the wrong understanding. People think of it in a very negative way. It's the most selfless thing. Selfless. Parents to people that are in their prime age, instead of enjoying life, they stop everything. Years of the most they can actually do together, they stop it and they just take care of their kids. But if they do it with a positive and a certain kind of intention, what is the kid gonna learn? Oh, my parents did this, so I want to be there for them. How about if you see the exact opposite? I know a lot of cases. I told one time to a parent, an elder parent, I said, how many times in your lifetime did you you tell your kids, you're going to take care of me when you're old, you're going to take care of me when you're old, you're going to take care of me when you're old? Or did your kids ever see how you spoke to your parents, how it was aggressive and not nice, right? And what's happening now? Tables are turning. So this whole world is a midah keneged midah thing. People don't even realize it. It's so funny. It's so foolish of people not knowing if you act normal and you act righteous and you do it for the good intentions, automatically what happens to you as a human being? You're paying yourself back. The problem is when you do it for a physical intention. The purpose of serving Hashem in this world is because He commanded us to. Everything else is irrelevant. Because He also put that tava on you of getting the nice car and making the millions of dollars. He put that tava on you. What did you think? You just had it one day? How come a person in your same class doesn't have any of those tavot and you do?
Is it wrong to have that?
I never said it's not wrong. Hashem gave it to you because He knows you can overcome it. Or He knows you're going to achieve it and then use good for it.
But what is there to overcome if it's not wrong?
Again, either you can use it for good or you can use it for bad. There are some people that don't do anything, they just have mazal. You look at these people like, how the heck does this guy have such a... Like, his hands are gold. Well, Hashem gave him this koach.
I wish.
Don't wish. That's called... You know, I was talking to a therapist and he said 90% of people, they do wrong to themselves. They put themselves in depression. They put themselves in agony. Why? By living in a mental state of sorrow. I wish How come my life's not like that? When you put yourself in that negative tone of voice in your brain, you attract it. You attract whatever you think. The people you're around, you attract the energy from them. I know personally, myself, there's a certain person that I was close with, a certain friend. I stopped talking as much to. I stopped feeling a negative vibe. Oh, now you're blaming it. No, I'm not blaming, I'm just telling you who the person is as a human being. My wife slowly started to cut back on talking to this person's wife. She felt better. She said, wow, I feel better. I don't feel that sickening feeling. You have to cut I'm not being selfish. You have to cut those negative people from your life. Do yourself a favor. Oh, but who's going to make carbon? That's not your problem. You're not the rabbi, you're not the therapist. You have to live in order to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
That's it.
Understand? That's what it is. And a person can come and with this old shetlach and that. They're not really Ovid Hashem. They're Ovid the Gashmias. I know a guy, he says, I can't leave Lakewood. You're a Torah, this, that. He said to me, oh, my son. Then he says, you know what goes on in their Kiddushes on Shabbos? Their shuls on Shabbos, what kind of food and geschmack, the hype and the hack and the lifestyle. I was like, you don't care about Yiddishkeit. That's just an excuse why you're there. Because if you cared about Yiddishkeit, you'd find Yiddishkeit anywhere. You'd find it under the water, you yourself, just you and the water and the sharks. If you saw a tract of it, you'll find it there too. But what do you need? You need all the gashmis. You know, all the physicality. Gashmiut, as they say. It's all bogus. Shtiyot.
What's Gashmiut?
Gashmiut is physicality. You like all these other things that you connected to godliness. It's not true. You're only connecting to godliness to mentally give yourself the allowing that, it's okay to also have it. It's okay to have the Gashmiut. They come together. Oh, you're such a fake. And you know who you're faking to? Yourself. You only fake to yourself. You only lie to yourself.
Lie about what?
Any illusion that you think will bring you to Yiddishkeit, and if it has a component of something else, like a physicality thing, like I said before, you're lying to yourself.
Can you give an example?
Like I said, a person that lives in let's say someone, again, this is just an example. For example, someone goes to a certain shul, right, to daven. And he only goes there because it's a good, his associates go there, you know? The people that he works with, and he has a good vibe over there. It's a young guy, he's chilling. He also davens. And he listens to Kriyat Torah, whatever. But what is his intentions really for?
To be able to
For the hype.
associate.
For the hype. That's not real Ovid Hashem.
Everything is, in order to build a family, you need money, remember?
Did I ever say not to work?
saying,
Yeah, but I heard even if you do wrong things, like do things with the wrong intentions, like it's still good to do it, like serving God for.
Okay, let me explain something to you. You know, if you were a starter, the problem is with us, we get used to the excuse life. We put ourselves. I'm not talking about you right now. I'm talking about this. We put ourselves in the first grade level for 50 years. But I'm starting still, and my brother, listen to me. Listen to me carefully. You went to 4 years of yeshiva. Not forceful yeshiva. You had a good time there. Full of love. They gave you that you needed. They did. They didn't pressure you as much as other places would have done. At a certain point, you have to tell yourself, I gotta graduate. I gotta now take things serious. The problem is what happens is we get so comfortable and relaxed. We use that excuse vibe, you know. But I'm still starting and I gotta be in a good place. And even though not lishma, it's gonna be lishma one day. I'm not doing it for the right intentions. But no, enough. If you were a guy that just started, yeah, sure, I would say right away, right even before shachari, let's put down a bottle. That's gonna make you good. Let's do it. But you're not there. You're not there. You know what? You're putting yourself there. It's different. You could graduate if you want this second. This second you could. Why don't you want to? Not per se you, but in general. Because everyone's used to the devil they know. I'm used to this already. How about growth? Rabbi, that's too much for me. You know what I'm talking about? God's happy with my tefillin, with my learning one. No, He's not. Don't lie to yourself. And if He's happy, you shouldn't be happy for it. The person needs to grow. If he doesn't grow, he goes down. It's a sink. That's what it is. Money. Rabbeinu, no one's telling you not to make money. Make a lot of money. Be as rich as whatever you can imagine. But don't live for that.
It always comes in our head.
It comes to your head because you surround yourself with that ideology of that's what you need in order to live.
Fear.
It's not fear. It's not fear. I had a kid that went to Eretz Yisrael this year. He just came back. He's going back after Pesach, and he told me he's going back for another year. He didn't go to Derech. He went to And this specific boy, he had a very hard time mentally. He was very much controlled and ruled by everyone around him. He had the guilt of everyone on him because they used to guilt trip him. Until he didn't make a decision that I have to be a little selfish. I have to learn how to just live, learn how to just turn off my phone and live, and learn and do whatever's for me. I'm not going to get out of this. I saw him today. He said it was the best thing I did. He said I'm sad I'm back here right now, but it was the best thing that I took the advice of just litnatek, just to forget about everything. What are you worried about? Money? Are you really worried about money?
Because I want to get married.
But one has really nothing to do with the other.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
It doesn't.
I see no connection.
No, it's the. I tell you why you think that way, because you're surrounding around how you live, or with the people you want to live with. That's their focus. Now I'm not telling you that's wrong. I never said that. What I'm telling you is that you put yourself in that hole. I know a lot of guys are getting married. They'll figure it out. They say whatever. We struggle here, struggle there, and as you grow, you grow.
Let's say they go in that they go into marriage with that mentality. Like, yeah, we're gonna figure it out. We don't have money. We're gonna figure it out. They get married, and boom, they're stuck with the problem. Like they don't know.
So there's two kinds of people. There's a person that's just he's just, as we say in I don't want to use bad language, but he's a loch. You know those kind of people. Those kind of people are dangerous.
They're dangerous.
Yeah. Why? Because they're bums. They're not gonna do anything. And then there's the kind of guy that he's an action person. Even though he's not making money now, you look at him, you know that if when it comes to a hard time, this guy's gonna get up, he's gonna hustle, and he's gonna make mad bread. That's the difference. There's two kinds of people. There's the couch potato that's just trying to katatz on the people. Who wants to go for a ride, and there's the kind of person that says, we don't need to be billionaires, we're surviving, but when we hit that brick wall, don't worry, I'll break the wall down. Those are the two, and that's how I was. My wife tells me this all the time. She said, even though you don't make money, I knew that if we hit that wall, you'll demolish the wall, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. We hit the wall and we figured it out together.
What did it feel like that day? I'm just saying, if you could remember that day, what did it feel like?
I didn't have time to feel. You see, feeling is a luxury.
What do you feel like? What am I supposed to do? Like you're bugging out.
No.
You're bugging out.
No.
Yes.
No. Your feelings are a luxury.
You
not understand. How come there are so many depressed people nowadays?
Yeah, you're right, 'cause they had a lot of time. I know. Weak-minded. But I'm thinking...
40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, they didn't have all these mental illnesses. You want to know why? People didn't have time to be mentally ill. They didn't have time. They had to go and survive.
You're saying more
it's
time
flight or fight mode.
100%.
You understand?
Yeah.
If you hit a brick wall and you are just thinking and not doing any action, you didn't hit the brick wall yet. It's like a guy called me the other day. He says, my wife wants to divorce me. I said, why? What's going on?
Money.
No, I have anger issues. I said, okay, very good. Okay, let's talk about it. Until his wife didn't make a big, huge balagan, he didn't wake up. She told him 1,000 times, you have this issue and it's bothering me. Yeah, she's not perfect, whatever the case is. I'm not getting into that. But until she didn't put that on the table, like, we're done, I'm not living like this, he didn't
You
change.
change. So sometimes you need.
Same thing like this. You sometimes, a person, to see the bat is not good enough. Sometimes a person needs to actually feel the bat rocking him and they say, ooh, wow, that hurts. That really hurts. Maybe you're that kind of guy. What can I tell you?
Wait, that's up, okay?
Set? Okay, let's get to our topic.
Question I ask you, you make it back. I'll be like I'm just trying to understand something.
I tell you why, because everything is an avodah. Everything is a working. Everything is a work on oneself. You're not understanding this. You want to know why you're not getting anywhere? Can I tell you why? Because you're relying on everyone. You don't have to get into it. You're relying on everyone to get you there. Think about it for a second. When did you actually get up and say, I'm not relying on anyone, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to just go? When? You didn't. You're relying on everyone. Right? It's exactly... Don't do like this. Don't do like this. It's a fact. You have to know how to say, I'm not relying on anyone, I'm only relying on him, and I'm going. Whatever happens is going to happen. I'm going. That's the problem. Stop relying on humans. Stop it. Rely only on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's it. It says before the Chag comes, 30 days before the Chag comes, you have to start learning about the Chag. Which Chag is upon us almost? Pesach. Purim just passed. Pesach. You know, it's a very interesting question. We have a phenomenon, really. What's the phenomenon? Pesach is called Seder. It's called the order. But if you look at the whole Pesach, nothing makes sense. The Seder table. It doesn't make... You know what? Let's run through it very fast, right? Of course, I want to do a more in-depth class on it earlier than later because people should get prepared for it. We come home, we sing, we do the Seder plates, we do Kiddush, we wash our hands without a blessing, we eat the vegetable, we dip it in, and then we uncover the plate, and then we cover the plate, we do helachmaniyah, we break the matzah, we close it, we open it, we sing, and then we again pour, and then we spill things, and by the time we get to the food, if you're in a normal Jewish house, it's at least 20-30 minutes. Or maybe more. It depends if you're Gruzinski or not. You know what I mean? It's around 20-30 minutes. If you're in my father's house, it's longer. But whatever the case is, every house is a bit different. Sometimes you have kids there, they're singing, they're mishtolel, la 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 la. It's a whole ruckus, right? You drink 2 cups of wine before you even put a piece of matzah in your mouth. Then you eat a whole bunch of matzah and you can't even eat the food. Then you have to drink 2 more cups of wine. And then you have to sing at the end. Like, there's no Seder. There's no order. So why is this holiday called Seder? It shouldn't be called Seder. It should be called something else. Why is the actual meal called a Seder? That's one question we have to think about today.
Aren't you in a Seder though? You're doing it all over.
What is that? You're not doing it. That's exactly why you're not doing it in order.
How do you?
How do you wash to eat a vegetable that's going to be wet after doing Kiddush and then breaking a piece of matzah, speaking for 40 minutes, drinking another cup of wine, making a sandwich, and then eating the meal? And then you know what? After you're already bloated out of your brain, you have to eat another 2 matzahs. Forget that. And another 2 cups of wine.
Yeah, well.
That's not Seder. We say Seder because we're used to. We don't even know what the word Seder means. Order.
It means in order.
But it's not in order. It's
Yeah,
not in order. What's order?
Order structure. Everything.
Kiddush,
Yeah.
eating the meal, singing, talking about the Seder, having a sandwich, saying Birkat Hamazon, finished. That's Seder.
Because I feel like
So why are you giving me this whole spiel of Seder, not Seder? Well, what's going on? So that's the first question. The Ari brings down in Shar Kavanot of Purim something very interesting, and also Pri Etzachaim on Purim. is why we don't feel the holiday, because we're not living this specific line. This line that I'm about to tell you, if you're gonna live it, you're gonna feel every holiday. You're gonna feel every Shabbat. You're gonna feel every single momentum time of your life. Do not think for 1 second that the holidays we have are a remembrance. They're not a remembrance.
We're living
They're a reacting the actual process from the beginning to the end. When we were drinking that wine and Purim, we were actually decreed life. When we are going to do Pesach, we're actually going through that spiritual cleansingness of leaving the Tumah to go to the to be Tahor.
through Pesach.
Through every holiday, whatever consistence. Right after Pesach is Sfirat HaOmer. 49 days, starting from Chesed until Malchut. We're reacting every midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu broken down. We're reliving it in order to get to Shavuot, Matan Torah, the actual Keter, going to the highest level. And that's why in the mikveh you have to think of a kamatz, because you're reliving higher than even letters, is nikudot. Why? Because you're actually reliving the whole process again and again and again and again. And we need to. Because every day is a different you. Every year is a different you. Every second is a different you. That only you as a different you can elevate. And once your job's done, you're done. You go under the ground. Because there's no point for you being here. You're only on this earth, you walk on this earth as needed. The second you're not needed anymore, your time is done. Bye-bye. Finished. It's done. Problem is, we never know when that's going to be. So it says at the end of the Gemara, Masechet Baba Kama, every day a person should do teshuvah before he goes to sleep. Why? Who said you're going to get up tomorrow?
What kind of teshuvah?
Regular teshuvah. I'm sorry for everything I did. I'm sorry I'm scratching my. I'm sorry that I
What if you know you might
did
do
shtuyot.
a certain thing?
Doesn't make a difference. What does it make a
Is
difference?
it teshuvah then if you're
Yes, it is, because your intention is not to do it again. You fall. But if your intentions is not, you're not lying to yourself.
But what if your intention is not, but you end up doing it again?
Exactly, it's okay.
Just says fall. It's fall.
But if your intentions is to do it again, you're lying to yourself. That's
Why?
even worse.
So why do the teshuvah on that night?
You're doing it to shoot because you really don't want to do it
So
again.
eventually you're gonna have to stop.
Deep down, you don't want to roll up anymore. Deep down, you don't want to sleep with that Goya anymore. And every time you're about to do this sin, you remind yourself and you say, I'm not going to do it. But the Yetzer Hara is mitgaber, and you're fighting with it. And the Yetzer Hara is a wife ba'atzma, dresses up into this zona metorafet in order to seep you out, to seep you into the klippah. You know why you have those tests? I want you guys to understand something. How it says, as a person grows, his tests grow. So what does it mean? You can be, eventually, if you reach a certain spiritual level, he's not going to have those desires, right? Like, what's to him into these things? For you, it's, wow, I need it. I want it, right? But as you grow, those tests that you have start to fall. Why is that? Because your clear vessel, you as a human being, is becoming greater. So automatically, these tests that you have, they have to happen. Why? Because you need to overcome them. You know what the funny thing is? A lot of people overcome their desires, but then they put themselves back into it. That's the problem.
What do you mean by that? Can you explain?
The problem is, eventually, after a person doesn't have a desire for
He wants
doing
to die.
certain sins,
He wants to die.
what he convinces himself. Let me just feel it one more time. But,
Say so.
what? No.
For the one time,
That's himself.
That's crazy.
How do you know that?
You're not wrong.
Desire.
Listen carefully, because you don't have a desire of doing it. You put yourself to that desire. Person doesn't have a desire sometimes. From his nothingness, he says, I'm gonna make myself fall. And you know what he does? He reverses. And now what does he have to do? He has to do that whole build-up again.
So what is that?
And again. It's you fighting with
I'm
yourself.
saying that's hard telling you.
I know that's insane. It's the reality of life. That's what I do for a living. You know what the funny thing is? You guys have it easy. Imagine if you are a person of public stature. You know how gava, ego can get to a person? Ego is the worst thing in the world. The worst. Ego. More than jealousy, if you ask me. Ego.
But jealousy is from ego.
Okay, we can get into this is from this and that's from that and everything's from everything, right? Ego. When a person thinks he's better than someone else, run from these people.
We started back to
Run from these people. So dangerous. Sometimes I see people that have Torah mitzvot, pure klipa v'sitracha. Pure. It's disgusting. It's a mamshchil Hashem.
Rabbi, going back to what you were saying before, somebody
You
has,
understand? Now I'm ready for your question.
so somebody has like you said, no desire, and he puts himself in a situation where he wants the desire back, but he didn't have no
It's not
desire.
that he wants the desire, he wants the top. He wants the hergish, he
In a
wants
way.
to feel it.
In a
Yes,
way, in a
yes.
way. So is that the Yitzhara too? Or that's you, like what is
That's
that?
you calling the Yitzhar to yourself. Like before the Etzadat. What was the sin before Adam and Chava? Why they got punished? Because they didn't have the Yitzhara in them. The Yitzhara existed. What happened when they ate from the Etzadat? They invited the Yitzhara to themselves.
How about if it was the Yitzhara that put
Do you
that thought
understand?
into them?
No, that's what we tell ourselves when we just don't want to admit to the truth. That's what it is.
What do we got ourselves?
We're talking about when a person puts himself in a place that he's gonna want. He puts himself to sin.
So what's supposed to be the Yitzhara? The body?
There are sometimes you walk on the street and you don't know what happened. Your heart is beating. You have this yates. You have such adrenaline to do a sin. You can like just kill somebody. That's the Yetzirah in you. And then there's someone that's walking on the street and says, I want to do Avera. I don't know if it's boredom, but it's like, I want to do an Avera. And he goes and does a sin. That you invited the Yetzirah to you.
So once you start feeling that, how do you stop?
That's
That's the key. The key is, how do I make sure that I don't fall into my own trap? It is your own trap. Why? Because what did you actually do? You don't have the desire.
So why did you?
You aroused yourself to have the desire.
Rabbi, but your mind be playing tricks on you.
No, it's not. No, you didn't. Your mind is not playing tricks on you because you're at the end of the day pushing yourself to do it.
But why?
Why?
What's it like? I know why for myself. Like I know I do that, but I'm saying like, why do I do that?
Because you're bored.
This is a head crack.
It has to do a lot with boredom for sure.
Because you're bored.
Getting
It's a
in your
headshot
mind.
It's a headshot.
Yeah, that's question.
That's why the Torah says when someone's bored, he comes to do averot.
So true.
But no one's gonna tell you this.
Why specifically that one though?
Any.
No, but
To
it's
each their own. To each their own. You just can relate to that because you're still young and hot. To each their own. Doesn't make a difference. To each their own. It's okay. You're a normal human being that's to work on himself. To each. I want to tell you something. Very, very valuable. One day you're gonna have kids. This is gonna help you.
Okay.
When your kid, or you're gonna find out your kid is going through the struggle, don't ever shoot him down. Explain to him that it's normal.
First.
Never shoot him down, ever. Because if he won't have that feeling that he can talk to you, if he's not gonna feel comfortable about it, meaning he's gonna think he's abnormal, it's gonna be much harder for him in the future, and that's gonna be a cause for him to leave Torah mitzvot.
Yeah, but could also have the
Remember
opposite
this.
effect too, no?
Remember this. Very important. The opposite effect comes from not getting accepted for having these tests.
Yeah, but then when you
You're not listening.
No,
You're not,
I hear what you're saying.
you're not hearing. You're not hearing. You're on your phone right now. You're not hearing. The key in a kid's survival when he's exposed to this is to have someone that he knows, that understands that this is normal. It's a ta'ava, and it's something that he has to work on, but he's not sick. You have to understand this. Most parents don't want to accept this. So what do? They patronize their kids. Like he's Moshe Rabbeinu, the father. The father was worse than Sodom V'Amorah. Now he became keeping Torah mitzvot. He wants his son to what? Be Moshe Rabbeinu. Hello. Calm down. Relax. Talk to him. Explain to him. Build him up. Show him the right path. What? Be happy he's not with Goyot. Be happy he's not doing different averot. So he has a challenge. What did you expect? What did you expect in this day and age? You just walk outside, you can do any shtuyot. Back in the day, to get a girl to be with a guy who's a little bit of hard work. Now, they want you more than you want them. It's disgusting. It's pasha disgusting. It's disgusting. It's like, I want to throw up. There's no game anymore. What happens when an alpha feels like there's no game? He himself becomes like a beta. He becomes worse than the beta. It's disgusting. Do you understand?
No.
So you have to make sure to build that confidence, build that awareness. And that's what really Pesach is. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? Moshe Rabbeinu is such a genius. He played with Klal Yisrael in order for them to understand they have a salvation.
You said he played with them?
He played with them. He built their confidence up.
Remember, he was also scared though too.
He didn't want. No, he wasn't. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu first of all. He wasn't scared. He didn't want to do it.
What?
He didn't want to do it. He wasn't scared.
He said, "Para won't let them out."
That wasn't from fear. That wasn't from fear. He was not scared. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. I don't want to do it. He was not scared. Let's not forget that.
What do you mean by he played them?
Oh, Moshe Rabbeinu had to mentally fix the brains of Klal Yisrael before he took them out.
How?
How did he do that? How did he do that? You see, a slave is begeder something called katnut, immaturity. A slave cannot think for himself. He cannot.
He always gets
A rabochnik, a person that's a blue-collar person, he has a very hard time opening up a business. It's almost very rare for a blue-collar person to open up a business. Why?
Blue collar. What's this?
He's a follower. A blue-collar is a person that works for a boss all his life. It's called a slave mentality. It's very hard for him. He's scared to take risks. He's scared to do things on his own. He's happy with his 9 to 5. He gets his paycheck. Leave me alone. I have no headache. That was Klal Yisrael. We were blue-collar people.
So he wanted to break them.
Can I say what I have to say?
Yes.
Don't guess. Listen, you won't have to guess. He took a people, and how do we know they were blue-collar? Because the second they had the first test, what happened? What did they say?
They want to go back.
They're like, you brought us to the desert for us to die? We'd rather go be slaves. Can you imagine that? You got your freedom. Instead of standing up and fighting, what did you say? You want to go back. Can we blame them? Absolutely not.
That's what
They were
the Arab Rab that said that?
We can say the Arab Rab, we can say the Jews. The people said it. The people said it. Let's say it as it says in the Torah. The people said it. They said, let's go back. So what did Moshe do this whole time to make them start having the understanding that we're not slaves to Paro, we're slaves to Hashem. He did something called Esel Makot. He brought down the 10 plagues. Moshe Rabbeinu, with the koach of Moshe and Aaron, the koach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, had to slowly show the people that Paro has no control over you, and this whole time you are in your epitome of darkness, you're in your katnut, because you're not coming to a realization of God in your life. And that's the fault of all mankind. The fault of mankind is relying on other men. When you take that relyingness that you have for a man and put it on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're what's called the infinite human being. You're the unstoppable being. You were actually the reason why God created the world. Because God wanted you to think that way. He wanted you to think in a way of infinity. How is that possible? Because God is infinite. And when you connect to God, you become infinite. So our level of immaturity was only there because we didn't have an understanding of maturity. We didn't have this understanding of relying on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We didn't have it. And how do we know we didn't have it? Because after Moshe Rabbeinu took the Jews out of Egypt, they started to complain. Moshe was telling them, we did it. We did the 10 plagues. Now you have to start doing the work on your own. You cannot always rely on the leader. You have to sometimes do it yourself. And that's why, what did Moshe say when they got next to the sea? What did he say? Why are you crying to me? Go. What go? There's water there. How you want me to go? What did Nachshon ben Aminadab do? Moshe, you said go? I'm going. No question. Whale, shark, whatever it is, I'm going. Crocodile, I'm going. He went in, and what happened? The sea split. Because until you don't go and break your maturity can never blossom. A person can never be mentally stable or mentally there until he overcomes the child inside of him. The child inside of you is the guilt. The child inside of you is the depression. The child inside of you is that concept of blaming the world but never taking responsibility. Maturity is the exact opposite. Owning. Being a man or being a woman, it doesn't make a difference. But the point is to overcome these mental state of challenges and say, not I can't do, but I will do, and continue. And that's Pesach. That's the whole Pesach. A person wants salvation, and Pesach is here to introduce you one thing. Stop saying you can't. Start saying I could. And it's right after Purim. Why? Because God showed you, either way you have no control. You have no control. Might as well be on my team. What are you wasting yourself for? For who? You're killing yourself over who? Over a female that's making you kill yourself for her, which has no appreciation for you? So why the hell are you killing yourself for her? Can you explain that to me? How can a man be so stupid and kill himself for the opposite gender if she has no value for you? If she cannot appreciate you for who you are, and she wants you to bend the bone only for what she wants. You know what you do to such a person? You run them over. That's it. Not literally, mentally. You leave them alone. That's it. Marriage is not to change the other person. It's to grow with the other person. You're never going to change anybody. You're never going to change your spouse. Your spouse is never going to change you. You're going to change yourself. She's going to change herself. That's the way it works. Growth comes by the tree bending itself to the other tree. Not when the other tree starts to fall on the other tree. What's going to happen to this tree? It's going to fall down. But if the tree combines together and says we're going to be one, there's no end to it. So what do we say? Let's kill ourselves for them. Or the opposite. So stupid. It's called immaturity. They're still in Egypt. I was sitting in my Sudat in Purim, and some people were coming in, coming out. And people, unfortunately in our community, if you drink alcohol, you're an alcoholic, you're, you're the whole 9 yards. And I don't blame them. Listen, at the end of the day, we are kids of immigrants, or even still immigrants. For us, they live with this pain. They live with their parents always drinking, or the grandparents being alcoholics, whatever the case is. In the Ashkenaz world, they're already third generation Americans. You'll very rare find a first generation American. Especially in your age, forget about it. They don't exist. So for them to do all these things is normal. Why? It's Purim, If you come to my house, I'm sitting down with someone, and the spouse barges in, fighting with the husband, No one no one from this Beit Knesset. And I looked at the spouse, I said, such a chava. You're not understanding something. Yeah, he can drink all year round. No problem. But if you punish someone for doing something good, the same way you punish him for doing something bad, what is it going to help? Huh? It's not going to help. It doesn't work. A positive reinforcement, you want to change somebody, you compliment him on the good. He's going to do the bad regardless. You don't have to remind him. He knows he screwed up.
Yes, sir.
But when he does something good, do you acknowledge it? No. But if you start acknowledging the good the same way you acknowledge the small bad that he does, what's going to happen automatically? Mentally, this is exactly what Moshe did to the Jews. Mentally, he's going to screw himself back to the proper state of mind that what? This is proper and this is wrong. Without what? Her needing to go crazy.
Rabbi was just drunk and thinking about this the whole time.
This is good.
Unfortunately, I didn't reach such a drunkenness on Purim. I reached
enough.
I reached good enough. I had my moments that I don't remember. Then I have 99.9% that I remember. It's okay. I had my youth. I enjoyed my youth very well. You see, broken tooth, this comes from Purim. I ever told you guys a story? My first year getting drunk, I think I was 16, 17 years old. I went to my Rebbe's house. I think I was 16. I went to my Rebbe's house for Purim. Now again, Sfaradim, Bukharin especially, to get drunk on Purim, oh my God, forget about it. It's like it's worse. It's better to go to the Beit Znut, but don't get drunk. You know what I mean? Like, do the worst of it, just don't get drunk. I said to myself, I was with my friend, I said, let's drink. Well, drunk. My first time getting drunk in my life.
Does
Suddenly,
it have to be wine or could it be?
no, it has to be. If it wouldn't be wine, I would drink vodka. You know,
Yeah,
I like vodka.
yeah.
You know, I'm not a wine guy. But the Ari says you should drink wine. Also, the Hasidim say whatever the case is, drink wine. So I started drinking wine. I was at my Rebbe's house, drinking. Bikitsur was a whole phenomenon, and then I started dancing. And when you start dancing, and when you're drunk a little bit, and you move your head, bam, it hits you. And I did that, and I didn't know, and I ended up on the bottom of the table in my Rebbe's house. And I was so drunk, I remember seeing a whole bunch of bottles on the floor, and they're all empty. I take one of the glass bottles, and I put it in my mouth, I'm trying to drink, nothing's coming out. So I said to myself, I'm gonna bite the bottle, maybe some wine is gonna come out. And I bit the bottle, and I broke my tooth.
The whole tooth.
I chipped it, whatever, it's still broken, you see the crack over there. That's the only thing I remember from that Purim. I remember coming out, whatever, we went to this yeshiva, that yeshiva, I don't even know how I ended up at home. But you know what? I enjoyed. And the funny thing is, my father just laughed about it. My mother went crazy, but my father was like, "Hi, pudding. What are you gonna do? Like, you know, like, okay, you drank a little bit. It was my first time. Yeah, I mean, there was other things I didn't do. Whatever the case is, but Lamaisa, why did I do it? That was the epitome of my high those years. It was yeshiva years. It's like I wanted just Hashem and Bekud. It was totally different. This year, as you get older, every cup you drink is just Yirat Shamayim. If you're in that state of mind of, how do we get closer to Hashem? I'm going to have this cup of wine. What's the chiddush you're going to get from the Megillah? And you drink, and you're dancing, and you're with the kids, and you're giving money, and you're eating, and everyone's b'simcha. It's not talking about if you're going to go to a house, and they're talking about znut, and look at her, and look at him. Then, no mitzvah at all. Get up and leave the house. No mitzvah. Now we're getting into Pesach. And if your Seder is a hellhole, come to my house. No joke. There's nothing to do there. What are you going to do there? Talk about what? Lashon Hara from the beginning to the end? You don't need this. You don't need this. That's not Pesach. Does anyone have any questions? We didn't answer the first question of why it's called Seder. Maybe we'll do that next year because it's going to take too long. Any questions? Any question, my love? From wherever you want. From the beginning of the time of creation till the end of time of creation.
Ask a question about Purim?
Sure. About Purim, no problem.
I heard you in one of your lectures last couple of weeks. You said that Esther was really a doppelganger. It wasn't like really her.
So there is a midrash that says that was Esther, but anytime Achashverosh wanted to live with her physically as a wife, she physically wasn't with him. She sent a doppelganger. Now this is just a midrash. You ask me how to make it out of that. It's not Skaska. It's not Skaska.
Come on, Rebbe.
It's not Skaska.
Impossible. It doesn't make sense.
Can I ask you a question? 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 Do you believe the sea split?
Oh, yeah.
That's not crazy?
How could you not believe that?
Double game is a little worse. Hashem,
The sea split is as crazy as it
Be
gets.
careful. Hashem could do anything.
It's what I just said. You heard my words. I said
If
that.
he created you, for sure he can create a
Wait,
doppelganger.
but the sea split, that was natural though.
What did you say?
I'll tell you why.
The sea split was
I'll
natural?
tell you why.
Okay, let's hear your chiddush.
I'll tell you why.
Let's hear the
Because
chiddush
you know
Moshe
crazy.
Rabbeinu didn't even hear, yeah?
You guys are gonna go crazy right now. You know why it was natural? Because before God created the world, He made a thing with the water, saying, "Oh, I'm creating you for the purpose of taking the Jews out." So He embedded that code into the water. So when the time came for the water to split, it was in a way natural, but unnatural at the same time.
But it was natural.
It was natural because that was the whole purpose of the water. So that's why God created the water for in order for it to come out.
down the middle.
It's a great point, Rebbe.
Wow.
I'm gonna prove to you how it's not. If it would be natural, did it have to embed that DNA into that water?
Okay.
Yes or no? Yes
That's
or
the
no?
purpose.
Yes or no?
Yeah, but He was creating it.
If something is natural,
Yeah, but He was creating it.
if something is natural, do I have to embed in it a special code? Yes
Yeah, but
or no?
there's no-
We're healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
We're
let's-
natural.
yes or no?
I can say anything. We're natural too, Rebbe. We're healthy. So is that also a
Yeah,
miracle
but
that we're healthy?
didn't it also split in like 12 different ways for
It
each
did,
tribe?
it did.
Rebbe, so you tell me that it's a
No,
miracle.
no.
No,
This
I'm
is,
saying, what do I mean by that? I'm saying the water wasn't created. What I mean by embedded is when He created the water, He created elements of the water.
I never saw this midrash, but okay, whatever you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I just heard it. I'm saying so. In a way, it was natural that the water split because that's what it was created to do. One of the things it was created to do was for an order when you just come out to split. That's why it was natural.
So you don't believe that God could have made a doppelganger?
I never said that. That's not my word. That's His words.
Yeshua, you don't believe God can make a doppelganger?
But what does that mean?
100% you feel.
You mean her mind wasn't
There's
there?
something called shedim.
Oh,
It sounds
no,
very
come on.
crazy right now. I don't know. It's why like I don't know explain it.
Can I ask you a question?
Hold on, I feel like it's
I don't know if I
too
should put this on camera, but I'm going to put it anyways.
Let's pause it.
No. I want you to hear this.
Pause it.
Is it possible? No, leave it on. Is it possible for you to be up and to make your, you know what zera is? To make your zera come out
What does that mean?
without touching yourself? Yes or no?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So how do people do it when they're sleeping? How does a wet dream happen?
You touch it when you move the bed. Yeah, of course. You move on the spot. Why do they say don't lay down and the forward? Because you're touching the spot.
Not necessarily.
What?
Not necessarily. You're
Because
wrong.
if he was in the middle of doing it and then
So comes
It's a mind.
comes the Ptach Eliyahu and says, when you have that at night, there's someone called Lamed Yud Taf, and she mentally, physically sleeps with you,
wait, what?
and that's how it comes out.
No,
So we're technically all not virgins. That's true.
No, you technically got raped.
We're still not virgins though.
No. Why are you so excited about that?
No.
Just understand. Wait, stop. Can you understand what I'm telling you? Can you understand what I'm telling you? Before you're gonna get to this cheshbon of you being something or not. Can you understand?
You're not a virgin?
Can you understand?
Yes.
How is that possible? Now I'm not telling you doppelganger is true or not. Tell me what the Midrash says. What the Midrash says.
Wait, where do you get the part that she's technically sleeping with us? How
So
does
if
that
you
make
have
sense? I mean, it doesn't make sense, but where does that come from?
I'll show it to you in time.
Because you can say that.
I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you.
But is that an accepted opinion? That's just
Yes,
a thought.
no, it's an accepted opinion.
If that happens to you,
Now,
do you get a sin?
But what
Now,
is sleep?
sorry.
What is sleep mean?
No, so
What
this
does sleep mean, though?
is this is where Nachman comes into the picture. Rav Nachman of Breslov says that if a person has that experience, he should go to the mikvah.
Run, head first.
He should go to the mikvah, and then his Talmidim said after in Sichot Haran to read Tikkun HaKlali. Why? He says that since it was an accident, then if you do those two things, those souls that came out of you will be automatically cleaned.
Well, that's only if you have a.
But if someone goes and starts to play around, who are you lying to? like, don't be a fool. All these wrestlers will tell you otherwise. I'm telling you, they're wrong. They're just trying to hype up people. No, relax. Always, when someone tells you something, you always say like this: "Show me, show me, show me." That was your question. That's it. Any other questions?
That's it.
My questions, but what?
Ask it out on the camera. People like to hear this. I get phone calls from people. They say, I thank you for this guy for asking the question. Because it helps them. People have these questions too.
Yeah,
I have a question on mind altering things.
One second,
No,
let's
that's
go.
It's very brief. So when you said
Exactly.
Moshe played the
Yes.
Jews, he played them with the 10 plagues, is what you're trying to say?
He played them mentally by preparing them to getting them ready to accept the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Through the plagues?
Through the plagues and throughout that experience of him going back to Egypt and talking to Paro. Which question? This is what he wanted to touch on right now, but go.
I'm just curious, like what's the Torah have to say about mind altering things?
Like, give me an example.
Like,
Hashish.
I mean, also more than that, like psychedelics or
What about
What
those?
is that?
just
Shrooms.
because like alcohol gets your mind in a similar state, but it's allowed.
It's different.
So I mentioned it many times, and I'll tell you. There's a concept that there's something that takes you out
Literally.
of your body, and there's something
Yeah.
that your body takes in. Alcohol takes you out in a sense you have no control.
Yeah.
Hashish, and even psychedelics like shroom,
I heard it's good for you, really.
listen, a person that wants to do it will do it regardless if it's good or not good.
So
I never said it's good.
what's your stance on it?
I don't have a stance. Actually, medically, it's proven that it's not so good for you.
Why?
It's not good because it plays with your brain.
How if it opens your brain? You know what they say? We use like 7% of our brains.
A baseball bat also opens your brain.
I say that same.
Why to do something that opens inner when I can open it outer, like a coconut?
Very, it's different. So.
Oh, it's different. Why? Because you don't like the comparison.
No, come on, you're taking a
No, wait. I want to get back to here. You just want to do it, so you do it. Listen,
I don't. What?
psychedelics, for example, marijuana,
What about shrooms?
I know. We graduated from marijuana.
I'm
I don't
curious.
want to- But let me work slowly.
That's not fair.
Let's talk. Marijuana, what does it do to you? It allows you to justify and enhance the illusion that you create. Don't
It
say
allows you to
no.
be happy in a shitty
No,
place.
that's how I'm saying.
Exactly my point.
What do you say?
If a person gets drunk and he's in a governal place and he's in a shitty place, he's not gonna be happy about it.
It's not necessarily
But
true.
I was never.
Yeah,
He might
It'll
want to
enhance
justify,
it.
but
It'll enhance
it
it.
enhances the emotion of, oh, I'm so sad. Thank you, Hashem. I'm so bad. That's what alcohol does. It doesn't allow you to
I never-
navigate. You never got drunk?
No, I never had that experience.
Baruch Hashem, you always should be
Usually
happy.
when I'm drunk, yeah.
Now, when a person starts to do psychedelics, like shrooms, what happens is, it's not even that he leaves the level of justification in his personal life and he starts to, how it says, psychedelic, you start to reach a level of pure hallucination.
You're saying when you're on the.
Yeah, you start to hallucinate. That means things that are not there
You think he's there?
become there. Don't say no.
It's true, bro. I never did it.
You know, your brother said like once years ago. He said like when you get high off shrooms or weed or anything, he said like you literally go on spiritually on like closer. It's like a level closer towards heaven or something like that.
I never heard him say that. I cannot validate what he said. I doubt that he did say that, but if he did,
Like, and he said, and I'm pretty sure I remember him saying like that's why you can't get high over here, because like in this world, because you're closer towards heaven.
do
Basically.
you know what the problem is with getting high? It gives you such a punch when you get out of it.
Like a withdrawal?
Yeah, it gives you even if you take psychedelics, it gives you such a punch when you get out of it that it debalances your stability of mind. That's the problem.
But it doesn't last that long though.
No, what he's saying is the imbalance in.
It has nothing to do with
It's
how
dopamine.
long it lasts.
It's dopamine.
Yeah, it gives you that sense of sensation, but when you get out of it, the withdrawal from it,
You feel depressed, but it's if you know how to.
not just depressed,
But your body literally.
you
feels it.
feel not. Yeah, I wouldn't say depressed or down. You feel something missing.
I know. That's.
Yeah.
Now that feeling of something missing is detrimental to humanity, and I'll tell you why. Because a human, when he goes up or he goes down, he goes in levels. But when you take something like that, you don't go up in levels. You start to fly levels. And when the withdrawal happens, there is no going down slowly. What happens? You go
crash.
back to the same level that you were. So what does that do to your state of mind? And if you don't have a good power of brain, what happens to
If
you?
you're weak minded,
Yeah,
I
crash.
can
Everyone
see
controls
how
it
it
differently.
could.
That's
What happens?
You crash.
Not only do you crash, you cause yourself to repeat and rinse. Repeat and rinse.
So what's the reason it's called
Repeat.
the world? Stuff like that. That's this mind altering. Is there a reason that it was?
Of course, there are things. If you want to talk, just go outside because I can't. It's fine. Go left and come. There is a reason. There is a reason for everything.
That's how I'm curious.
There is a
It's
reason-
So mind altering. Is
There-
like, what could it
There is
be
a
on this
reason.
world?
There is a reason for everything. Everything in the world, there's a reason for. You're gonna ask me what is the reason for it? I have no idea. There are most probably medically that people use it. I take shrooms, but not the psychedelic ones. I take the ones that are good for health.
liquid drops. Like the drops.
The drops. I take the ones that are good for relaxation. I take the ones that are good for energy, mental boost, physical boost.
I think
Not
that was
because
saying-
I need it or I don't need it. There's a lot of medical benefits from these things, and it's proven. It's proven. No matter what anyone's gonna tell me, I don't follow the stream. I follow the facts. I don't take psychedelics. I'm not telling you what you guys should do. I've seen them. I've seen the yellow one and the white one and the purple one. I've seen the colors. I've seen the packages people showed me. I never took it. But the problem with taking that is if you don't have a good state of mind
That's what it comes down to.
how does addiction happen? It's also a state of mind.
For sure.
It's more of a state of mind than a state of body. That state of mind, you have to be so mentally strong. But now here's the catch. Here's the catch. To not need to want it. When you start to need it,
It's a problem.
that's the problem. Also, what's the problem with marijuana for people that smoke constantly? Oh, it's not an addiction. You're wrong. You know why I know why it is addiction? Because that person cannot be without it already. The mind has to be that I don't need it. I don't need it. How do you know he doesn't really need it? He can go months without it, years without it. The problem is those people that have such a strong state of mind and they're not using it for right things.
We're on that way.
They're gonna answer to
Like
Hashem
lectures?
big time.
Do these lectures count as like learning
No.
Torah? That's what I thought. Because I still listen to every
I'm not gonna lie, it does count as
No,
learning Torah, but for
I
someone
know it
like you
doesn't.
that can do
I don't wanna
more,
fool myself. I know it doesn't.
for someone, no, it's considered learning, but for someone that has so much more potential and graspability that he could get and doesn't do it, I understand people need the inspirational classes. But eventually, if you're not going to get to the point that you're not going to start to inspire yourself by your own growth.
So where do I start? What do I like Tanakh? Like what do I start to go to the next steps?
The Gemara says a person should only learn things. Can you close the door? Yoshua, close the door. A person should only learn things that his soul is attracted to.
At the end of the day, he has to learn everything though.
Correct. But this is where your first initial comment comes into play. You start with things that you really want to know, and what happens? You get a certain attachment, and suddenly everything you start to learn starts to become desirable to you.
I feel that.
Now, if a person starts to learn things that doesn't pertain to him, yeah, he's good in mentally fighting it, but he doesn't feel an attachment to it, then what happens?
You can tell he gets a little bit.
It doesn't affect him. He's just learning it as a subject of knowledge, but not as a subject of growth. So a person has to do something called a cheshbon nefesh. He has to sit down and see, what do I need? Now, for some people, for every person it's different. But whatever it is, it has to be consistent. Through the consistency, through time, you add more and add more and add more until it becomes a love. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You cannot stay in grade A forever.
100%.
You have to grow.
That's why I asked. I know it doesn't count as fully really learning, so I want.
It's considered learning, but it's not considered learning.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Inspiration is always good. But at the end of the day, you need to sit down, you need to open a book, and you gotta crack your head and go one by one and you have to find the love on its own. Like how I always tell people, the dating stage is gonna end. And now you're marrying the person. What's keeping you to stay married? Those butterflies leave you.
It's common sense.
What for you may be common, for some people it's not. What's gonna be when the first fight comes? And the second fight, and the cursing, and the hatred, and the guilt, and the blaming. What are you gonna do then?
I wouldn't be in that position.
Only time will tell.
Now there's a person that only time will tell. The other person asks the person, what's the right answer?
I wouldn't be
Figure
at
it
that
out.
point with
Well,
somebody.
no, you're gonna get there. It happens to
No, I'm
everybody.
saying I wouldn't be at that situation with someone who's doing that. I wouldn't be that far with the person that I know is doing that. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, because once you get married, guards fall. Comfortability comes, so things start to fly. Not things physically, but mentally.
I know.
So a person has to know that no matter what happens, that's not gonna That's not going to
It
conclude
shouldn't be a deterrent.
how I'm going to determine this relationship.
100%.
Because those are false emotions.
Yeah.
So too over here. Person should agree and start learning things that come. I say this all the time. If it's everyone should learn halacha every day. Does it attract you or not? That's irrelevant. Why? Because
That's
you
basic.
can't serve God if you don't know how to serve Him. That's number one. Person likes to learn stories. You should open up the Tanakh. You should learn Tanakh. A person likes to learn more mysticism. You should open certain Hasidic books and start with that. A person likes to learn pilpul, learn things that are more mind-boggling. You should open up a Gemara, certain sugya to get involved. And eventually, when you realize that you need all of them in order to survive, then you'll be so attached. But a person can't say, I'm just, I go lecture once a week. Can't do that. Good, listen to them every week. Listen, it's good, listen. Gotta grow.
I just like it because I have long drives a lot, and I heard every single one of your YouTube
You listen to it. I don't want you to stop listening to it. Trust me. But what I do want is for you to grow. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want people to grow. To always stay in level A is not good. I want you to grow.
100%.
I want you to pick up a book.
I want him to want to pick it up. That's the difference. I don't want anything.
I already want.
I want the other person to start to realize I need it. I need it and I want it. And like this, slowly you'll see such a self-mental growth in yourself when you start working on yourself, becoming a better human being as a person. As a person, start to become a better human being. It's just a different ball game. You look at life different. You stop judging people because you realize everyone has their challenges, everyone has their tests, and this is his neshama, this is my neshama. It's just a different ballgame. And that's where we have to get to. And you guys are there. You just gotta need that push. Now, I'm not telling you to go black and white. Absolutely not. Just continue wearing what you wear. You be you. Put on tzitzit, put on tefillin, maybe trim your hair a little bit, whatever the case is, right? To each their own till whenever they're ready. But what happens? Your growth is you're not doing it for somebody. You're doing it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're doing it for yourself because you realize at this point, I have to get out of it. It's enough.
Also, one more thing. What do you think about when you're praying? Like, or not you, I'm saying what
In general, listen, prayer is the hardest avodah. It's harder than learning Torah.
Once you go to Moshe,
I think it's easier.
Because you never davened in your life.
Oh, come on, man.
I know you, bro. I see so many of your lectures saying that. And like,
You guys don't daven, you
I
read.
try connecting to prayer so much more lately, and I realized that.
I know you don't daven, you read. You don't need to
I
fight.
don't know that though. I don't know.
I do.
I know the words. I know the English.
Because if you can say that davening is easier than learning, you never daven.
No, because learning is hard. You have to grasp everything. Here, you're just saying it, and you're talking to Hashem. You're talking. It's like me talking to you.
But you
I'm
just
saying
said,
that's
you just said
different.
what he
Hashem-
said.
Do you acknowledge that you're davening to Hashem?
I'm saying
What's Hashem?
Hashem is the infinite of everything.
What does that mean? It's so easy to say words that you heard 1,000 billion
It's
times.
the truth. It doesn't do 2,000 million times. It's the truth.
So do you daven with the full honest in every word, slowly word for word, because you're talking to the infinite God?
Obviously not.
So then are you davening?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, of course.
Are you davening?
That was a work in progress though. I'm not
You know-
perfect. That's
How long is it going to be? How long is it going to be a work in
That's
progress?
the point.
You're in
What are you
yeshiva. I'm sorry I'm using this excuse even though I don't like to. You're in yeshiva how many years of your life?
3 years.
Only 3 years you were in yeshiva?
Oh,
He's
From
asking
the
how
beginning
long
of
is it
time.
gonna be?
How many years?
hold on.
Give me a number.
12.
12 years? No, you were more than 12
14,
years.
15.
15
You
years.
went
you
to
were in
Israel
yeshiva.
15 years.
15. What do you mean? You're from what age? Kindergarten?
Your whole life.
First-
6 years old. 6. I was 6.
Six?
First grade.
First?
Over a decade for sure.
8 years plus 12 years in high school, right? 12 plus another 2 years.
Okay.
14 years you were in yeshiva and it's a work in progress?
No,
No, but they
I
try
never
to
really-
learn that
I
already.
can't-
You know what? You're right. The first 10 years to the garbage.
Yeah, because if we were really, that was just BS.
The first 10 years to the garbage.
Deal.
The last 4 years.
That kid. That's
The last 4 years. The last 2 years of high school and the last 2 years in the base measures, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. That's what you're real.
No.
So where's your-
Where's the work in progress?
Yo, no.
That's what he's
Look at
asking.
me. Look, where's the work in progress?
Look at your Rebbe, bro.
Shouldn't be.
We're still work in progress. You know what we do? We fool ourselves. We tell ourselves the same crap over and over again. And that's what pisses me off.
So teach me how to really love them.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Teach me everything in 1 second, Rabbi. Well, what does that mean?
Say something about it.
That's not going to help you. To have an internal change is to do it yourself. That's exactly my point. That's what I told you before. You just want people to feed you. That's why there is no physical or mental success in you yet. The potential is great. It's huge. Your potential is endless. But you didn't even tap into it yet. You want to know why? Because you like to get spoon-fed. And that's why the other guy on the other side of the world, right? He's also only getting spoon-fed. Right? Don't say anything. Why? Because you didn't tap in yet. Oh, the truth hurts, right? You gotta tap in. You're never gonna tap in. That's the problem until someone's not gonna give it to you. So I'm not gonna physically hit you. How am I doing it to you? Until you don't stop with the excuses, basketball game, all this crap that you come up with, and actually open up you don't even have to open up a book. You can actually go to the park and sit down and say, God, I need your help. I don't know what the hell to do with myself. I need you to help me. I know you exist, but I don't believe you exist. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That makes sense, right? I know you're there, but I don't believe it. I need your help to know and believe. When was the last time you did that?
3 days ago.
3 days ago. Good. How about before that? 10 years ago. Right? So a person has to come to realization growth only comes with oneself. I just threw that as a joke. Calm down. Don't become so defensive. Don't look for his approval. Look for your own approval. Again. You understand? A person has to come to realize, how come, I love this Beit Knesset? I one time told to one young guy here, he's like, I want to leave the shul. I said, please leave. He said, you don't have to stay. He said, over here is older guys. They're in their late 20s, 30s. I said, but remember one thing. In this Beit Knesset, the people that daven here, they all worked on themselves. So you see the 50-year-old guy that just started to keep Torah Mitzvot 2 years ago, davening, like he's in base measures for the first year. Right? Then if you go to a different Beit Knesset and you see a 30-year-old guy and he's just blah, 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 and just walking away, what's the difference? That one is relying on thin air. This one worked on himself. He opened the book and said, I want to know. Okay. I want to learn. I want to grow. Teach me. I want. He took it out of his time to grow. We don't want to do that anymore. And this is what the fight was between the Baal HaTanya and all the other Hasidic Rebbes. The Baal HaTanya said, I will not let my Hasidim rely on me. I will have to teach my Hasidim to rely on themselves. I will be there to guide them, but I will not be there to do it for them. The other Rebbe said, they don't need to do it. They just need to connect to me and I'll do it for them. No! You have to learn how to do it yourself. You have to learn how to inspire yourself. This is what we don't want to do. What, you think overnight I suddenly start to keep Torah Mitzvot? Oh, because my father is a rabbi? Lehefer, the exact opposite. I actually sat down and I had to struggle and I figured it out. I built that connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, teach me about davening. What? I should give you all my years of experience of my life and shove it in your head and say, that's why I love davening. And that's why when I daven, I take my time. I don't rush. I don't like to be chazan. I like to do word for word. I come late even sometimes. I say Kriyat Shema. I go home. I go for a walk. I get myself mentally ready to daven. What, just overnight, just, boop, boop, I'm ready, let's daven. No. Davening is the hardest thing in the world. It's the avodah of all avodas. Why? Because you're actually talking to God. You're actually having that communication. When you read the Hallelujahs, you have to understand what you're saying. You're praising God of His greatness. You're saying Asher, you're saying all the tefillot. You're reading Akedat Yitzchak, and you're reading the Ketoret. Why am I reading this Korban? It's really had to be me. And look at the greatness of God, Hodu, and so on and so forth. You get to Yishtabach, Yotzer Or. You're reading Kadosh Kadosh, Le'el Baruch, Shema Yisrael, sacrificing yourself for Kodesh Baruch Hashem Sfadat Tiftach. How do I even have the nerve to open my mouth in front of you? we're lying to ourselves. Growth comes from yourself. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu told the Jewish people. This is exactly the point. Moshe Rabbeinu said, you cannot rely only. You have to do it yourself. You gotta jump, and that's why it's called Seder. The Seder is the fact that it's not Seder. That's Seder. Order means not order.
Wow.
Because if it would be order, there would be no purpose. The point is for you to make the order. You have to make the order in your life. You have to find the right person and function properly. Money's not gonna do that for you. Because you'll have all the gold, all the money, but you know who you're gonna marry? A gold digger. Then what's Seder? You thought the money's gonna make the Seder. I'm not telling you not to make money, make money.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be the excuse why yes or why not. That's what we have to understand. We have to understand we have to do the avodah. You have to connect, you have to have a Rebbe, you have someone to guide you, and you have to go weiter. You gotta go weiter in life. You gotta continue going, until you become the best Jew. What's the best Jew? The Jew that only relies on Hashem. We finished?
Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen. Amen.